Hi, I'm Mike Leonard, and I want to take a couple of minutes to go over a little bit of why I'm running for Philipstown Town Council, and to give you a little background as to my background first of all, but also to be able to explain to you what I passionately feel I think I can accomplish on the Town Council. First of all, I'm a father of two. I've been involved with the New York Power Authority for 34 years. This is a electric company, basically. But more than that, for me, I think if you take a look at me versus the business versus the actual community service, you would see that this is a person that's taken on challenges his entire career, has looked to try to do the best job possible. I've worked from line positions to instructors. I was an instructor for 10 years. I also managed, moved my way up through management and ended up supervising 100 personnel staff. I've worked with unions, the Teamster unions, negotiated contracts. I've handled a lot of challenges in my business career that I think helped prepare me for going on to working actually in the town itself. And basically what I've done was, originally, maybe like a lot of you, I got involved with a small issue, which in this case was the town road I lived on, which was at that time a dirt road. And I had problems because obviously, as we know in the town, we have a lot of steep slopes. More than half the town is steep slopes. And pretty much I needed, along with our neighbors, to try to find a solution so that we could, from a safety standpoint, be able to get in and out of our properties safe. And that was working with the town, who was very cooperative, and being able to work with them and be able to provide eventually our ability to be able to improve our roads such that we were able to get in and out of it all year round and not have safety issues which we were facing. From there, I developed a great deep appreciation for the town board and how they treated us very, very nicely and helped us through the process. And I wanted to be part of that. So I got involved in 2008 with the Board of Assessment. Board of Assessment quickly gets involved with the entire town, and we had a number of evaluations come before us. I know now, obviously, the Butterfield Hospital is a big project, and that came before us as a special project a few years back, because those people that know, especially the people living in the Cold Spring Village, that it's a complex project, and that it has partially, right now, part of the building is operational, part of it's not. Part of it was a hospital which dealt with decommissioning, which meant it got involved with depreciation costs, and of course it is on a large piece of property. So this gives you a little flavor for the commercial side. A lot of people came in as well, residential properties that felt that their taxes may have been excessive or whatever, or unequal, and we were able to help them through the process. And I feel real good about being on the Board of Assessment. Tremendously dedicated dedicated group of people. In 2009, I went on conservation. This is basically a group that's very dedicated to the environment, looks out for environmental issues, but wants to make sure that in a town like ours, that the waterways, the wetlands, which are critical for our environment here for our town. Our town is a beautiful, scenic town. I love living here. I think a lot of people came here for the scenic beauty, and we need to maintain that. And that part of maintaining that is to not forgetting about our environment when we are developing. I also have moved on in 2010, while still on the other boards, to the Planning Board. The Planning Board gets involved with a lot of larger scale site plan, large scale town development issues. Since being on the Planning Board since 2010, 18 commercial properties, in addition to a number of residential properties, have come before us. And this is important to be able to take a look at what their impact would be towards the overall town, but also respecting private property ownership, their ability to develop their property, to see their dream come true. And you need to, as a board member, to be able to weigh that development versus environment. And I have to say that we've been very successful in every single situation and advising people of the details. We follow the exact same process for every application that comes in. It's a formalized process. There are no corners cut for any project. We follow it fully. Some projects are larger than others and it'll take longer. I think it's important also for people to realize that sometimes you may not always see the amount of work that goes into what we do, because sometimes while they may clear all of the town requirements, they decide on their own for economic reasons or some other reasons not to go forward with their projects. So there may be people in the town don't realize that people even applied for changes, but they made their personal changes, and we respect that. This is their personal property, and that's what this is all about. So in 2012, I was asked to step up as the chairman for the planning board. This was in a different role and a very responsible one. A lot more duties. Like any position you take on, you have to be able to weigh whether or not you can really have the time to dedicate towards this. And I'm in a situation in my life where I can volunteer. I call them, these are my volunteer years, to where I think I can help out at this point in my life and give something back to a town, which I've always wanted to do. And I think now is my chance to do that. So I think I've served well on all of the boards, and I think the chairman of the planning board is a great foundation for consideration for the town council, because you interact a lot with them, you realize and learn a lot what they go through, so it really gives you a good basis to consider that. And when I was asked to run, I was very proud of that. The people that asked me, the town board, Betty Butney, who's served this town tremendously as a volunteer. I was proud to receive their endorsements. And I waited, I looked at it, and I felt it was time, and I really think I can really do something back. It's not about the position for me. It's always been about the opportunity. And I think there's some great opportunities here. I'd like to take a look at town-wide transportation more. We've made some strides with that, but there's limitations on certain things like the trolley and so forth, because it's federally regulated. So that would really, I think, consolidate the town. Being a Continental Village resident and I've gone door to door in every section of this town. I expect to continue to do that, and if elected, I will continue to do that with the people and be able to get ideas from everyone. But I think that portion of town, Continental Village, and maybe portions of North Highlands and so forth, kind of feel, because of maybe they're not being as part of the village, they feel kind of out of touch of issues. And I've tried to really explain to them that I will really try to take steps to try to make sure that the town is a whole, and any services that are provided, which I think obviously it does clearly make sense to senior centers and so forth, to try to locate them in the village areas, because it's central to the town. It makes sense. It would be easier for people to get to and so forth. But basically, transportation, I think, would be a key piece to getting us as one town. It also would provide people that can't obviously drive anymore, or people don't have cars, that ability to use that, and obviously to be able to use our businesses in town. A lot of people talk about tourism and our own people being able to get around better, and this would be a tremendous plus. So that's a particular goal I would have, and I think it matters on a lot of issues. The town budget is the lifeblood of the town. It's a very important issue. It's probably the #1 issue. And basically from there, you pretty much have different parts of the budget which have to be looked at. Obviously what you do anywhere, and I have handled budgets for years. You have to take a look at each line to make sure that it is in fact providing what you need it to do. And if not, you have to ask those questions, and you have to be able to make sure that if there's increases asked for, that they're justified and explained. And then, like everything I do in my life, I ask other people for consensus as well. You should never make a decision in a vacuum. You should make a decision based on listening to other people. And actually for me, the campaign portion, the door-to-door, has been the best part, because I've gotten a lot of ideas from people, and I enjoy talking one-on-one to people. So I've actually enjoyed that, where maybe some people don't, I do. And I'd like to continue that. I think I would do a very good job. I think I'm qualified for this position. In addition to that, I believe I have the availability in my life to do this now. And I really appreciate your support November 5th, and I thank you very much.